It's no surprise Sony plans on porting more of their PlayStation games to PC following its massive success. They launched the PlayStation for PC platform and made it abundantly clear they plan on taking aggressive measures to make sure that their titles are slathered on PC gaming rigs. Now, it was made clear in Sony's statements that their entire motivation for this move is monetary. They want to make more money by getting their IPs, their intellectual property, discoverable on PC and reaching a wider audience of gamers. However, this is a win-win, and it's good for us on the consumer end, the gamers that will be able to experience these titles even if you don't have a PlayStation 4 or 5 console, or you do, but you want to experience them in all their glory, cranking up the graphical settings on your PC. But what really surprised me was how aggressive Sony is taking this venture, expanding onto PC, bringing around half of their games to the PC platform. And mobile. Alrighty, Stallions and Stallionettes, welcome to the Gamer Heaven. I am your host, AK40 Kevin. I'm going to live in a little circle on the side of the screen. I have two articles pulled up. These are both from today. Got some pretty highlights on them, and they will be sourced down there in the description below, as I do anytime I cover any news in the gaming community or industry. Kotaku said 2 hours ago, Sony's bringing even more PlayStation games to PC following massive success. When I read that headline, I wasn't taken aback 2 paces. It didn't blow my hair back or anything, because we already knew that they're planning on porting over a lot of their PlayStation exclusives. What did surprise me was the scope and scale of this venture. By 2025, Sony says roughly a third of the games in the PlayStation's portfolio will come out on PC. When they say the PlayStation portfolio, they're talking about their IPs, their Sony Studio first-party games, which are generally absolute bangers and are renowned as some of the best games out there. Now, a third of their library, that's pretty massive, right? It is, but if we come over here to this Verge article, Sony plans for roughly half of its games to be released on PC and mobile by 2025. I don't quite understand how they're going to port full-length PlayStation games to mobile. I understand that flagship phones like the iPhone 13 Pro and some of the balls-to-the-wall, tits-out action Android devices are incredibly powerful, much more powerful than something like the Switch OLED. But being able to run PS4 and 5 games at a decent frame rate in any kind of an enjoyable experience, not too sure about that just yet. I think it's like cloud gaming and 8K gaming at this point. It sounds awesome, but in practice, we've seen that it just isn't where it needs to be. Now, Sony's motivation for this move is strictly financial, as I alluded to during the intro. Sony's presentation suggests the company is already reaping the benefits of bringing titles like Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, and God of War to PC, with net sales on the platform more than tripling from 80 million to a forecasted 30 million in 22. He means 300 million. I got you post-editing, big dog. Sony has been vocal about its plans to bring more titles to PC, launching a PlayStation PC label and even acquiring a PC port developer last year. That is correct, and those are 2 moves right there that should be clear as day indicators that Sony is planning on pushing up aggressively into the PC gaming space. They made an entire label or platform titled PlayStation PC, which looks something like this. I actually covered this article when it came out late October. And then acquiring a PC port development studio whose entire job or task is to focus on taking console games and porting them over to PC, because it's not really as easy as them just taking the core game files and then shoving them deep inside of Windows 10 or 11. You gotta preheat the oven before you shove in the turkey. I'm ready for Thanksgiving. Now, in addition to expanding their games to PC, the company's also trying to expand the use of its IPs or intellectual properties outside of gaming and use the recent Uncharted film, which I did review on this channel. Decent action movie, kicking the beads if you're a fan of the Uncharted games. And the upcoming HBO series based on The Last of Us, which I will be watching and reviewing. Now, the PlayStation games we currently have ported to PC and how they were received. In July of 2020, Sony released Death Stranding on PC, where it runs tremendously well. In fact, quite a bit better than it did on console, especially the PS4. Especially the base PS4, not the Pro. Horizon Zero Dawn, which needs no explanation, it's Guerrilla's open world game. It did launch with a couple of performance issues, hiccups, and just not being very well optimized for PC. However, with recent patches and updates, it's kind of the No Man's Buy turning into No Man's Sky scenario. Not that it was that drastic in scale of how upgraded the game became over time, but it is definitely playable and enjoyable now. Days Gone was ported in May of 2021, and then God of War in January of 2022 met with extremely high praise. Now, later this year, 2 Uncharted titles are being ported over. It's called The Legacy of Thieves, which is basically a bundle of 2 games. You have Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, which is the one where you play as Chloe Fraser. You're not actually playing as Nathan Drake. This is a huge kick in the beads and twist on the nips for an Uncharted fan like myself. Every time I read this, it does boost my blood pressure and get my heart rate clicking a couple of extra notches, because they're jumping to the 4th numbered title and then an offshoot that isn't even part of the core Uncharted storyline, rather than doing an entire Uncharted PC bundle, which is what they should do. I don't care if you have to wait another another year to get it done, an Uncharted Ultimate Collection or Uncharted Collector's Package for PC that has all of the games remastered for PC, or at least optimized. They don't even have to be remastered, but just a decent port that's playable on PC. Because Uncharted is one of those games, it is virtually like you're playing through a motion-length movie, so why the hell would you want to jump into the fourth entry where you're not going to know any of the characters because there's kick-ass character development in 1, 2, and 3, and you're not really going to know what the hell is going on. You're just going to be like, damn, this is a fun game to play. Graphics are sick and the gameplay's dope, but you're not really going to know what the hell's going on. Now, granted, a lot of people have played Uncharted by now. It came out on the PlayStation 3, for God's sake, but don't bank on that because it's a PC port. So a lot of these gamers that'll be playing it are like diehard PC players that's their only platform and they think consoles are gross. So they're not going to know what the shit's going on. And I think Uncharted, as the series that it is, that definitely solidified the fact Sony makes kick-ass first-party IPs, deserves a little better than just giving us the fourth and an offshoot. Get off that topic. I could be on there a while. Let's direct me down here to this. This is a good point from the journalist at Kotaku. We're approaching the point in the console generation cycle where developers leave the PlayStation 4 behind. That was actually just announced that PlayStation 4 support is going to be ceasing from game developers, and PC versions will help more games reach more people. I absolutely agree with that. Now, we are slightly past the 1.5 year mark of the launch of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, brothers. So Sony's offering from the 8th generation of home consoles, the PS4, looking a little bit long in the tooth and loose in the caboose, and it's time to pack her up and send her home with cab fare. We've had our way with her for 7 years. We've got her younger, hotter, more wild friends slathered in our entertainment centers now. We don't really need to be focusing a whole lot of development efforts on the PlayStation 4. And you might be wondering, Kevin, why do you even care? I mean, you've got a PS5. Because I've made this point in the past, whenever developers are creating a game for multiple platforms, they have to develop for the lowest possible platform. So if it's on Switch, it's going to be that. If it's on the base PS4 and Xbox One, it's going to be those. So you can clear as day notice games that have been developed strictly for the PlayStation 5, such as Returnal and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, perform incredibly well in comparison to games that are playable on both. Now, I do fully sympathize or empathize, one of those words is applicable here, to the fact that a lot of gamers still can't get their hands on these consoles, so the fact that they can even play these titles with a PS4 is a good thing. But we're talking about this change happening in about a year and a half's time. By then, I do foresee that a lot more gamers will be able to get their hands on these chunks of plastic, which is good because that's around the time frame that developers can start focusing on really pushing the horsepower of the PlayStation 5 and series. Because if you look at launch titles from the PlayStation 4 versus the ass end of its life cycle, for example, Last of Us 2 still looks and plays insanely good on a PS4. And then you go back to playing a launch title like Killzone Liberation. That was a launch title, right? Not Liberation, Killzone Shadowfall. Developers don't start fully making use of their dev kits and the tools available to them, game engines such as Unreal 5, until usually the mid to end of the life cycle of a console, and then you start seeing titles that are absolutely nut-busting masterpieces. I'm sick of living in that circle. I want to live in a square now. I just moved apartments. I'm over here now, downtown. Sony hasn't revealed any details about which games are next due to make the leap to PC. Data miners do suggest that PS5 exclusive roguelike Returnal is next to bat for the PC port. I've actually heard this from multiple sources. It seems pretty legit, and also data mining is a pretty solid way for us to get leaks, because usually it's already in core root files of Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, and they weren't meant to be found, and data miners bust out their shovels, dig through some code, and find out features and upcoming games that are usually pretty solidified that they're gonna happen. Now, Returnal was incredibly fun, incredibly frustrating. If you die, there's no real save points. Well, there's technically 5 throughout the entire game whenever you start a new, not node, biome, they're called. Great game. I have it on the PS5. It was one of the first PS5 titles I bought. That would be a fun one on PC for sure. Also, according to Kotaku, they say you can deem it safe to assume that Horizon Forbidden West will come to PC as well. I would concur with that statement. I mean, we have Horizon Zero Dawn. It would make sense that they're going to have the sequel here as well. And when the third one comes out, that will probably launch for the PlayStation consoles, or not consoles. Take that plural off the back end. That'll be for PS5 only, I'm pretty sure. And then probably 6 months to a year and a half later, it'll be ported over to PC. Sony generally waits a good chunk of time before porting to PC, and this is because they've always been about exclusivity on their consoles, where if you want to play these awesome experiences, and don't get it twisted, they are awesome, they make good games, you have to have a PlayStation console to do that. That's why a lot of PC players only have one console, that being a PlayStation, because they can play the Microsoft games on their PC, so they don't really need an Xbox for anything. But if they want to play these Sony exclusives, they have to dip their wick into Team Blue's pool with a PlayStation console. But now it looks like you can just have a PC period, PC master race, as they say, be able to play all these games. Nintendo, they will never. Well, we said the same thing about Sony, and look at where we're at now. But I can't really foresee Team Red porting a whole heck of a lot of their games, if any, because we haven't seen that before, over to PC. They don't even like it when the PC emulation community starts playing games from 25 years ago. We've seen them drop a lot of cease and desist letters on emulation sites that give away ROMs and ISOs and whatnot. You hate to see that. So this is pretty exciting news if you only have a PC or you have these games on PlayStation like myself, but maybe you want to really push the edge of graphical fidelity, or maybe you are a streamer or YouTuber where it's a lot easier just to play the games directly from your PC instead of having to plug your console in via capture card and whatnot. Not that that's necessarily difficult. I have video reviews on capture cards as well. It is impressive the scope and scale of this expansion, that Sony is planning on porting about a third of their game library to PC and half of their game library to PC and mobile. It's pretty cringe. Drop in the comment section below what PlayStation exclusive titles you would like to see come to the PC and your opinion of this PC expansion as a whole. Me personally, I understand fully that it's just to line the pockets of Jim Ryan and the boys, the executives over there around the round table at Sony, but I don't really care because we're still getting these games on PC. So whatever their motivation is. Now, granted, one thing that does kind of sting a little bit, it's kind of a little paper cut and squirt of lemon juice, is the fact that you're going to have to purchase these titles again. If you own them on PS4 or PS5, I would be shocked. We're talking Raiden's Fatality in Mortal Kombat. Shocked that Sony would give away any of these PC versions of the games, because it's a port that they're putting effort into developing it, basically, again, not developing the whole game, but porting it over, making tweaks and optimizations for PC. They're going to want some kind of compensation for that. But that's not a big deal if you don't have these games on PS4 and 5. Your first experience with these is going to be on PC, or you played them so long ago on the PS4, maybe you can swallow that pill of buying it on PC to get that fully remastered experience. In my opinion, Sony being willing to port their games over to PC and let them be on PC and mobile as compared to just the PS4 and 5 is a step in the right direction. But they're not going to take such a big pro-consumer leap to where they're going to give these away for free if you already had them on console. In my opinion, we'll have to see. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. Check out Into the AM for some of the sickest looking and most comfortable cloth to ever grace my gaming giblets. If you don't want to be scorching your corneas with harmful blue light, check out Gamer Advantage, the only blue light glasses on the market that look sexy and actually work. If you're looking for a custom controller that'll blow the competition's tits back, AIM definitively has the best bang for buck or price to performance when it comes to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch controllers. Nope, they don't do Switch, but they do gaming mice. I said doo-doo. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. If you need a quick laugh or blast of gamer adrenaline, check my short form videos out at TikTok. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of Gamer Heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.